everyone! If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, this is my face. We don't usually do videos like this because, as you can hear, I live in New York City and it's super, super loud and kind of distracting. So I apologize if you hear a lot of traffic and honking horns, but it's New York City. What are you going to do? Today, we are going to be delving into the world of non-alcoholic spirits or zero-proof spirits, whatever you prefer to call them. What are they? How are they made? How do you use them to make a cocktail? And most importantly, are they worth buying? So if you like this type of content, please hit the like button and subscribe below, and let's dive in. But before we do, full disclosure, I am an ambassador for Ritual Zero Proof products. However, this is not a sponsored video. They did give me some free product, but all opinions here expressed are my own. All right, let's get started. Now that it's dry January, I thought this would be the perfect time to talk about these spirits. So my first time ever having a non-alcoholic spirit was back in 2019. I was pregnant at the time, and my friend Diego made me this really delicious mocktail using the Seedlip herbal spirit. And it was unlike any other mocktail I've ever had before. I feel like they're usually really, really sweet. They have like a ton of soda in it, or they try to make up for that with too much acid. And this one was just really complex and balanced, very adult for mocktails. Now, I know some of you are thinking that these spirits are just overpriced infused water, and you're not entirely wrong. Many of these non-alcoholic spirits are made by blending hydrosols or essences with water. Some are actually distilled from a spirit. Others are made using glycerin to extract flavors from the herbs and botanicals. Some need to be refrigerated after opening, and some are shelf-stable. Non-alcoholic wines like this one are made exactly the same way as wine, but have had the alcohol removed. The most successful method for removing alcohol from wine is by using spinning cone column distillation. Basically, this technology allows vacuum steam distillation to occur at a lower temperature as to not alter the flavor of the wine. When building your non-alcoholic bar, you want to build it just as you would build your regular bar. You want your staple spirits, you want your gins, you want your tequilas, you want your whiskeys, you want your rums, and then you want some bitter spirits too. So I'm actually going to be testing out a couple of these spirits side by side. I have a couple of tequilas, I have a couple of whiskeys, rum, gin that I'm going to taste side by side and then make a cocktail using my favorite one. So I have two different tequilas that I'm going to try today. I have this Mockingbird spirit that's based out of the UK. And then I have this US brand called Ritual Tequila Alternative, which is why I reached out to the company because I absolutely love this tequila. It's amazing. This one, on the other hand, I feel like it doesn't really have too much flavor. It's made of blue agave, but it really has like a very mild taste. It just kind of tastes like sweetened water with a little bit of cinnamon in it. This is like really unctuous tequila taste. It has a little bit of spice. It's got a little earthiness from the tequila. It's really, really good in a margarita, which I used in my Virgin Triple Sec video. I used this tequila to make my non-alcoholic margarita, and it's amazing. I'll link that video below. I'm going to use this tequila to make a zero-proof version of my Paloma Supreme that I made in my 10 Campari cocktails video a while back. I'll be using my homemade non-alcoholic Campari for this. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video on how I made my non-alcoholic Campari. For the alcoholic version, I'll link the video in the description below. For this cocktail, I'm using 2 ounces of Ritual Zero Proof Tequila Alternative, 1 ounce of freshly squeezed grapefruit juice, and 1 ounce of my homemade non-alcoholic Campari. I'll shake with ice for 10 seconds, add soda water to my glass with ice, pour my shaker in there, and top it off with some more soda water and a grapefruit slice. This is so refreshing. The spice from the tequila alternative and the bitterness from the non-alcoholic Campari make this a really complex cocktail. So the 2 whiskey alternatives that I have today are the Ritual Zero Proof Whiskey Alternative and then also the Spiritless Kentucky 74 Whiskey Alternative. So just give these a little taste. And mind you, these aren't really meant to be drank straight. It's more of like, it's to be used in cocktails and mixed. So the Ritual is the same brand as the tequila that I tested earlier that I absolutely love. Their whiskey smells definitely sweeter. Yeah, it definitely has a lot more sweetness than the tequila does. You taste the smoke, you taste some vanilla. It's pretty fruity. But it doesn't taste like whiskey to me. Like, it tastes like it has all of the flavors of whiskey, but they're kind of separate. They don't really have like a cohesive flavor. Let's try the Spiritless Kentucky. So the way that they make it is actually really interesting. They distill an actual spirit and then they redistill it to remove the alcohol from it. So it definitely tastes definitely more like whiskey than the Ritual. It has smokiness to it, it's vanilla, caramel, spicy. It's really, really nice. Yeah, this would work amazing in a Manhattan or an Old Fashioned. For the whiskey spirit, I'm going to be making an Old Fashioned. I have the Spiritless Kentucky 74 Whiskey Alternative. This one is made in Kentucky by 3 women that have roots in hospitality and also bourbon production. This is the first distilled non-alcoholic spirit. They actually start this product with a foolproof spirit and use reverse distillation to remove the alcohol. I like using Demerara syrup in my Old Fashioned. I think it complements the caramel and vanilla notes of the spirit. I'll use half an ounce of Demerara simple syrup, 3 dashes of Angostura bitters, and 2 ounces of the Spiritless Kentucky 74 Whiskey Alternative. Stir for 25 to 30 seconds and strain over a large ice cube. Then express an orange twist over the glass. This is a really tasty Old Fashioned. I don't think it would fool any bourbon drinkers, but it makes a great substitute for non-drinkers who want a sophisticated non-alcoholic nightcap. So for gin, I have 3 different kinds of gin. Well, one is gin-like, not necessarily a gin alternative. Here we have Ritual, again, same as the tequila and the whiskey that we had tried before. It's very subtle, very citrus forward. I'm not really getting too much juniper, very light herbal notes. This is the Seedlip Garden. This one is very vegetal. It has like a kind of bell pepper kind of scent to it. Again, very subtle, very citrusy. And lastly, I have the Monday gin. So this is kind of odd. Their gin is actually a little bit cloudy compared to the other ones because of the way that they extract the essences from the coriander and juniper. This has definitely more of like a London dry gin profile. It's citrusy, but you really get that juniper flavor, some coriander. This one is good. This one is my favorite of all 3. This I've had just with tonic and lime, and it's pretty tasty. They say you can sub it out 1 for 1 for all of your favorite gin recipes. I don't know if I'd buy that. It is very, very subtle. This guy right here it's good. It's good with soda. I've used it in my Peas to Meet You video that I'll link below. When I did make a cocktail using this, I actually made a juniper syrup to enhance the gin flavor of this, and then I also used some pea juice and some yogurt to give it some body, and it was actually really tasty, but it definitely needs a little bit of help in the herbal department. However, after opening this, after like a week, I feel like it loses a lot of its flavor. They say that you don't have to refrigerate it. Even though I have refrigerated it, it still tastes very, very mild. If I were to make a cocktail using any of these, I would definitely choose the Monday gin. However, the style of cocktail that I would make would definitely have to have citrus or some other elements to it because obviously you will miss the gin. I wouldn't use this in a martini or anything like that. For the gin spirit, I'm going to make a French 75. For my non-alcoholic French 75, I'm using half an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon juice, half an ounce of juniper simple syrup, and 1.5 ounces of Monday Gin Alternative. Shake with ice and strain into a coupe, and top with non-alcoholic sparkling wine. This is a great cocktail to kick off dry January. It tastes almost like a real French 75. It's definitely a great celebratory drink. The next category I have is rum. I have two, well, I really have one. I mean, to compare this to this, it's really not fair. This is Ritual Rum Alternative. This is the same company as the gin, the whiskey, and the tequila that I've already reviewed. And then this is a Seedlip Spice. Like I said earlier, it's not really a rum, but it does have some similar characteristics. It has a lot of baking spice notes, so I thought I would include it into this category. As you can see, big difference in the color. I love this rum. It's so good. It has like all the classic flavors of an aged rum. It has all those warm, toasty spice notes with a little bit of vanilla, like a traditional aged rum. I actually used this in my coquito this past Christmas, and nobody believed me that it wasn't real rum. It's that good. This guy, on the other hand, has some nice spice notes, clove, cinnamon. The flavor on it's pretty good. I definitely wouldn't use it in a rum cocktail per se, but it's really nice with soda water, lime, or grapefruit juice is actually really good too. My favorite way to drink it is with pineapple juice, club soda, and just a little squirt of lime in there. For my rum alternative cocktail, I'm going to make a daiquiri. For this non-alcoholic daiquiri, I'm using half an ounce of Demerara syrup, 1 ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice, and 2 ounces of Ritual Zero Proof Rum Alternative. The Demerara syrup and lime play really nicely with the vanilla spice and orange notes of the Ritual Rum Alternative. This category is actually what I would refer to as aperitivos. I have Gia, which is my absolute favorite. I've used this in a couple of videos before. I used it in my Blizzards and Bikinis video, and I also used it in my Virgin Paper Plain. You could tell that I like this a lot because it's pretty much empty. It's so good. It's super bitter. I definitely prefer it lengthened with soda and just a squeeze of lime. It's what I usually have as an aperitif before dinner. This guy is Rossavada, which is also really delicious. They have 3 different kinds. This is the Ruby Artemisia. I don't know if I'm saying any of this right, but this one is also super bitter, and I love that it's from New York City. You get like fig, you get something that's like really juicy and delicious. So good. And then the last one is a newer one to me. I've actually only tried this once before. This is Figlia. This is also a New York City brand. And I love the color of it. It's so pretty. Right away, you get a lot of orange notes, a little bit of rose, and definitely some clove. So good. I drank this with just on a large ice cube with an orange twist. Excellent. This is the last category I want to talk about today, and these are called euphorics. These are actually the relaxation ones. I don't have any of like the stimulating ones on hand, but essentially euphorics, they either make you feel like incredibly stimulated and like ready to party and have fun, and then you have these guys which are more like nightcaps, and they are meant to really relax you and help you sleep sounder and just kind of like make you feel completely zen. And that's how I typically drink them at night, right before I go to bed. So this is 3 Spirit Nightcap. And the ingredients in these are called nootropics, which are basically smart drugs. They're like roots and herbs and things like that that have properties that stimulate your brain. So this has like a little spice to it. It's very gingery. It's just so tasty. I like to drink this on the rocks with an orange twist. This one is the Kin Dreamlight Concentrate. They actually sell, I think it's called Lightwave, and it's like a pre-mixed can variety, and it's also really good. But I like to get the concentrates so I can mix it up myself. And these have to be shaken before you drink them because there is some sediment that forms at the bottom. This is more cinnamony, more clovey. It's definitely a little bit more bitter, so I definitely recommend lengthening this with soda and maybe even some citrus in there, which is how I typically drink it. Yeah, and these are awesome. I mean, I think that they work. I find that I feel a lot more relaxed after drinking them, and I feel like I definitely dream a little more peacefully and sleep throughout the night better. Like I said before, I haven't really tried the stimulating ones. They do contain caffeine, so that's something that I'm trying to stay away from in the evening. But I've heard really good things. Three Spirit makes, I think, 3 different kinds. I've only had this one so far. And then Kin makes one, I think it's called the High Road, or that might be the canned version of it. But anyway, I've heard really good things. So I hope I was able to shed some light on these non-alcoholic spirits. I think it's really great that they exist. There's myriads of reasons that people don't drink, and I think everyone should have access to a quality cocktail, so I definitely think you should pick up a bottle or 2. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and please leave any comments, questions you have below. Also, don't forget to check out theweepearl.com and sign up for my newsletter. When you sign up, you'll get an ebook for 3 delicious punches that can be made with or without alcohol. Thank you so much and have a great week.